What's up, everyone? Welcome back to another episode of NewCastPlus. I am Alex, or if you're watching this video from YouTube, on screen you will see my name is Drafty Loki, and today, me and the crew, I'll be talking about some Final Fantasy.
Unfortunately.
So,
well, I don't know why suddenly everybody decided to try it out, because I guess it was they were showing off like the PS5 thing, right? Like the new expansion, because it was coming to PS5. And then they were like, "Oh, why don't we try it out?" And then everybody just started downloading it that night.
Well, it's like for me, I've always kind of wanted to, like, I don't know, I've always wanted to get into MMO, and I've always liked Final Fantasy, and I saw that they had a free trial, and it was kind of like the last push.
The only MMO I've tried is, I think I said Terra. And I played it for like 10 minutes, and I said nope.
I've never heard of it.
Exactly.
Terra?
Fucking Terra.
Yeah. It's on
That
consoles
shit's
too.
terrible, bitch. That was bad. I'm gonna cut that out. I'm gonna cut that out.
This ain't going in the final product.
No, you can leave it in.
Nah, yeah, I'm playing. That was just so bad, though. I think the only MMO I played beforehand, though, I played with Edgar. We played Maple Story, and you can barely call that an MMO.
Maple Story's an MMO.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's considered one.
It's literally just talking to people and like fighting like creatures.
Stupid,
That's it.
bullshit, easy enemies.
Yeah.
Plus, the art looks terrible. Isn't it kind of like chibi?
It's
or like Super
chibi.
Sim-
Yeah, it's chibi.
I
We
hate
played
that
that
shit.
for like a long time. How long did we play for?
Like when I was looking at the ReZero game that was coming out, I thought it looked cool, but then I saw like the battle overlay was fucking chibi characters, and yeah, it just kind of turned me off. I don't like that shit.
Yeah, I was down bad back then. I really want to play an MMO, so we got Maple Story.
I think
MMO.
But I think Seth is definitely the one who's enjoyed it the most so far.
Hell yeah, bro! I got 60 hours on it already.
Oh gosh, that's got a crippling addiction to Final Fantasy 14 already.
When did we download it?
Like,
literally last week on Saturday.
yeah.
Oh,
It's been a week and this dude's already got like 60 hours on the game.
that's fucking crazy. And, what's your main class is Ninja, right? What level is he?
Oh well, now he's 45.
God damn.
I think your secondary class too is probably higher level by now too than mine, because I'm level 23.
No, my Arcanist is level 22.
Oh, okay. Well, that's good.
It's because I wanted to get my ninja up to level 50, because once you get to level 50 you unlock the other classes like Samurai and Red Mage, and they seem pretty cool. Like Ninja is cool and all, but he's like hard as hell, especially with these new abilities unlocked. I gotta do like combos and shit. It's kind of weird.
That don't seem too hard.
Well, no, not like that. Not like that. Okay, but like there's like a lot of combinations that you can do depending on certain situations, and there's like literally 10 of them.
What level are you, Cade?
I'm about to be level 30.
Jeez. Yeah, I can't play it all day like you guys can. Like the game's cool and all, but then I especially, like we were talking about last night, how you guys are leveling up the other classes like minor by just like walking 2 feet, pressing the mouse button a few times, and then doing it over and over again. That shit sounds awful. It looks awful.
It's not that bad.
It ain't that bad. It's a little, tedious, but it ain't terrible.
No, the worst part is having to go to a specific location just to kill enemies that don't even guarantee that they drop their stuff. That's the worst.
Yeah.
I mean, you're playing an MMO. What do you expect? They're just gonna hand you the item?
Yeah.
My favorite quests are the ones where the quest giver tells you to go get something that's 2 feet away, and you bring it back, and they give you 5,000 XP.
Oh no, dude! Yesterday I had a side quest that was throw 3 snowballs at the snowman, and it gave me 20,000 XP.
The fuck?
Oh, that Valentine's quest is a bitch. You have to travel between like 3 huge ass areas just to get that stupid.
I still did it.
Well, no, I did it too, but because I can't stand seeing those fucking was it the exclamation marks just all on my map. It's terrible.
Yeah, I'm the same.
I didn't even bother with that.
When do you upgrade classes?
Level 30.
Oh, 30? Oh, okay. I might be able to make it to that today then, depending if I really splash through the story missions and we do some more dungeons and shit because that was pretty fun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Except for that second one where it was just literally defeat enemies, move forward. I guess the whole thing about like I said, the mining thing pretty much ties into how we talked about idle games and how leveling up those sort of classes just kind of turns into one because you're just watching numbers go up.
No, it's different.
I mean,
How?
it's not much different from an idle game, but I think watching numbers go up is pretty fun. I'm not gonna lie.
Nah, you like shit like Adventure Capitalist, okay? You literally just watch the numbers go up.
Venture capitalist ain't bad though. Fuck you.
You're just watching numbers.
Okay,
Nah,
what do you think you're doing right now?
No,
You're watching a number go up.
back in middle school when I used to go over his house all the time, I'd bring over my crap top. And since we couldn't play much shit beyond,
Oh my god.
since we couldn't play much shit like beyond TF2 and shit, I'd bring my fucking laptop over, and we'd be playing shit like Adventure Capitalist and Clicker Heroes.
I
Damn,
remember
that sounds like
that.
a good time.
Yeah, we're on shitty ass laptops and we just play TF2 and fucking idle game.
Didn't you play Dota on your crap top, Alex?
Yeah, I did. That shit ran at 20 FPS. I'm not even kidding.
She didn't have much else to do because he had a GameCube, right? But like, really, the only thing we could play on it was Melee, and he'd just be shitting on me with Ganondorf, and I'm like, I don't know how to play this shit. The only experience I had with Smash at the time was playing on a sideways Wii remote in Brawl. When I thought that was the shit. I used to like genuinely think that like dodging was for like bitches, and I just never dodged.
You never use LRR?
No, because I thought I was like, why the fuck am I gonna dodge? Just take that hit.
That's funny as hell.
Mm.
Man, it sucks that they shut down the Nintendo Online servers for the Wii because that shit was great.
I played an unhealthy amount of Mario Kart too. Mario Kart was pretty fun online.
Playing Brawl online was the worst shit ever, but it was also great. Like, you'd get into a lobby, and you know how every match has the countdown. You know, the 3, 2, yeah. That shit lasted for 30 seconds because because the Wii didn't have like good receptors for like Wi-Fi or anything. Like literally every match you would get in would have like 1,000,000 ping. So every time that like every time the match would start, it would just be on the little countdown screen for like 10 seconds or more.
At the
Every
very
time.
least, the lobby music was bumping.
Oh hell yeah!
They had the like little Mexican guitar or whatever. Oh, but since I played on sideways remote, right? You could do this thing where you binded, because you did taunts on the shitty little D-pad, so you could do it where you binded like a chat thing to each taunt. So you could imagine what like 8-year-old me was typing in for each fucking taunt like online. It was so dumb.
Dude, man. Online in Smash still stinks. It still lasts 30 seconds half the time.
They're changing their online shit.
The netcode, yeah, I heard about that. It's weird how they have fucking callbacks. Robinson was telling me earlier how they have callbacks to Windows 98.
So
yeah,
a lot of because they just recently started, making the shift toward this new online system. But a lot of games that are coming out have still been coded with the old Nintendo online system built into it. So and like I said, people found in it that it was like so bad they found callbacks to Windows 98, which could be pretty shitty for people who want to, it makes it pretty easy to pirate it and shit. All their games have been leaked like super early, and like people can just look through the files and shit. It's a big problem for Nintendo, but they don't really seem to do much about it.
The fuck, what are you supposed to do? Just kind of
Not,
had to like sit there and watch.
I mean, well, yeah, that's all. I mean, that's all they could do now. But I mean, I don't think it's a good start to have Windows 98 in your coding.
Yeah, so recently I just got a new computer, right? Because I've been saving up money for a couple months when I used to work at a shitty ass grocery store.
It was built by
And
yours
I-
truly.
Who?
By me.
Oh yeah, Seth.
Wait, I thought you
Okay,
were talking
yeah.
about the grocery store.
No, so I worked at this shitty ass little grocery store. We can probably talk about that some other time because there's some great things that happen there. But I just made some money and I bought all the parts and I was able to get an RTX 3070, which is the last part that I needed. Like on the last wave of stock that Best Buy was selling last week, which would be like February 9th or something like that. I don't fucking remember. And pretty much Seth and Cade both came over. We built my PC and it worked just fine for a little bit. And then I got up to go take a shit. So I got up and went to go take a shit while my computer's like still installing some games or whatever. Then I come back, computer turned off completely. And when I pressed the power button, it wouldn't turn back on. And apparently Seth overlooked something, which was like this little ass cord. It was just like one plug that I had to plug in
It was
into the power supply.
It was the motherboard power connector thing, the ATX on the power supply. I thought it was only an 18 pin, but it was a 24 pin. I didn't see the extra cord.
Yeah, so I thought like my whole PC was like, I'm about to have to like return something or
Did it?
whatever the fuck, right?
Didn't you say you smelled something like burning?
What the?
Oh
Dude, it
yeah, you
smelled-
did say it smelled like burnt rubber. I was like, what the fuck?
No,
Yeah,
because
he was
like that's a
What?
like that usually like is a sign of like a power supply failure or like something like fried, right? So when you said that, I thought like genuinely like your CPU got like melted or something somehow.
Man, I don't know. You told me to smell my computer. I was like, all right, I guess I'll smell it. I smelled like the top part. I smelled the top part where there's like a little vent thing, and you can see the CPU, like the fan right above the CPU, right?
Yeah.
I smelled it. Smelled it kind of like burnt rubber, but I doubt anything happened. I mean, I think that's just how heat kind of
Seth, you would've
smells
got
like.
Remember, it smelled like the back of the Xbox.
Yeah.
Seth, you would have gone 3 for 3 for PCs.
Damn.
Every single time I touch a PC, something is wrong with it. I don't know why.
All right, well, yeah, let's talk about that one. So, I was gratefully donated. Well, I'm gonna pay him back eventually, but I have this. The one I'm on right now is gratefully given by Seth, and it worked for like I think it was like a good 1 or 2 months without any troubles, and then it just shut off. Like, oh, that's not good. I call him up. We troubleshoot it for like 10 minutes. And I unplug and plug in the power cords for the power supply into the motherboard, and it works. I was like, "Oh, cool, sweet." I joined Discord. We're talking for a bit. I go to use the bathroom. I come back like Alex did, and it's off again. So the next, I forgot when, but I'm pretty sure I had you come over and we were looking it over, and at first we just thought it was a power supply fuck up, which that wasn't too out of the question since that's usually why they turn off all of a sudden, and the power supply that I was in was like kind of subpar. It's like, oh, okay, that's fine. I order a new power supply, comes back next weekend. We're putting it in, and still doesn't work. So we troubleshoot it for like another hour or so, and then after looking inside, we see that the CPU the CPU debug light was on
because
the motherboard.
before it wouldn't turn on like at all, right?
Yeah.
And we put the power supply in, and now it said all of a sudden CPU debug light, which indicates that the CPU isn't working properly or isn't being detected, which is kind of weird because if you think about it, maybe it was the power supply, but something like shorted, right? And maybe it fucked up the other components. Go on.
Oh, okay, where was I? So, okay, yeah. So after we troubleshooted for like pretty much like a whole night, like several hours, and then we came to the conclusion like, okay, well then I guess something had fucked up, and probably the CPU was fried. But in that case, then, because there was also signs of the motherboard being wrong, so I had to wait nearly just about a month of just absolutely depressing times.
It was also because before initially you got the motherboard, right? And or no, I returned it and I got it shipped here, and so I had your PC here because I took it back home to see if I can.
Oh,
Yeah. And Cade came over, you know, we fucked with it, we built it and stuff, and put the motherboard in, the CPU in, etc. And I tried turning it on with the CPU in, and absolutely nothing. No power went to it. Actually, no, I think power went to it, but the CPU I think was completely what was, I don't even know the fucking word for it. It was broken. It didn't work at all. And the reason why I came to that conclusion is because everything else was replaced. Okay, the graphics card, fine. Motherboard is new. There's no way it could be fucked, right? And the power supply worked because I heard it. Literally every time I would turn it on, I would hear like the power going to the motherboard, but nothing would happen because the CPU just did not work. So more waiting ensued, right?
Yeah, because I'd saved the money to buy. Because I didn't want to. No, wait, no. You already had gotten the new motherboard by then, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so I had to save up money then for a new CPU, which was the 3600X, and that finally came around in about a month after I saved up enough money. We put everything back in, and it worked from then on. But then that also led into Cade's little situation as well.
Oh yeah, okay, I can explain this. So normally when you troubleshoot hardware, it's a good idea to have another computer to test other components in. But my dumbass thought, nothing could go wrong, and it's I'm not gonna lie, it's mostly my fault for being ignorant to that. But we tested. I think it was your CPU, right? In Cade's computer, what was it?
It was Cade's CPU and my computer.
Okay,
yeah, it was the
yeah.
CPU problem.
Okay, yeah. So in order to test like the CPU, right, we put Cade's CPU, which was a AMD Ryzen 5 1400, I think.
Yeah.
It's a bit of an older CPU. It still worked. It was good, right? Literally the day of, he was using the computer and it was working fine, right? So we put the CPU into Robinson's computer, and at this moment, it was the same motherboard as before. It wasn't a new one. It was the same exact build. We were just swapping out the CPU to see if it would work. And we put it in, turn it on, lo and behold, CPU debug light. And we're like, oh, then maybe it is a motherboard issue. So then, yeah, we take it apart. Because sometimes, despite it saying a CPU debug light, sometimes it just might be a motherboard failure, like the CPU socket might be fucked, right? So, we take out the CPU, put it back in Cade's computer, close it up, turn it on, and it doesn't work. It doesn't post. His motherboard doesn't have CPU or debug lights in general, so we couldn't really identify the problem, but it was kind of obvious what happened. The PC worked before, but now the CPU that was put into Robinson's computer doesn't work on Cade's computer. So our theory behind this is that his motherboard was so fucked, or the CPU socket even on the motherboard was so fucked that it was like shorted, and every time you turn on the computer or put any CPU in there, it would just break. Which, leads to more costs and more money and more troubleshooting. And then even worse, I don't know how I could forget. But Cade saved up, he bought a CPU off of Newegg. And this is
the new CPU from Newegg.
And this is from a Chinese retailer. It was too late before, he figured that out, right? So it was already coming. It took like 3 weeks to come because, China shipping, right? And the box came in, and I shit you not, it looked like a gorilla punched that fucking they had gorillas out there in that fucking Chinese sweatshop. They're like, they had the boxes on the conveyor belt, and they're like, here, just punch this, right? And so, you open up the box, right? It's already taped like super fucking shittily, right? It's taped like hardly put together, and then the Ryzen box is there. It's still dented like a motherfucker, right? And you open it up, and I'm gonna keep it real with you. I think it's time to spill the secret. I don't really care. But
Oh my.
I only told a select few about this, and on this podcast will be the debut of this secret. All right. So
Stupid story.
I'm gonna tell you right now, the CPU did not come with bent pins. That was a lie.
What happened?
Okay, so it came. Let me preface. It came and it was broken still. Okay, we put it in Kate's computer. It didn't work at all. Right.
Mm-hmm.
But I took off the CPU cooler, right? And sometimes when you do that with Ryzen CPUs, it does this weird thing where the CPU will stick to the cooler despite it being locked to the motherboard, right? And you'd think that would fuck it up, but nah, it's cool, you know? So I'm like standing with Cade, like Cade's across his room, you know how big his room is, right? I'm like standing by his carpet and like holding the CPU cooler and like trying to like gently shammy the fucking CPU off the thermal paste, right? And I'm like talking with him as I'm doing it. I'm like, damn, get this shit off. And it fucking, I swear to God, that shit flew across the room.
So you broke it?
No, it was
You
broken.
know
It,
what it was?
was already broken. It didn't even it wouldn't even power on. That's how fucking broken
Yeah,
it
the
was.
CPU literally, it wouldn't power the PC on. So it was already faulty to begin with, right? So I was like trying to shimmy. I was going to put it back in the box and just say fuck it and try to return it. And dude, I was like trying to get that shit off, so I put a little more force, and that shit went flying, dude. It landed on the side with the pins, right, on the floor, and I picked it up, and like half of them were bad. I'm like, oh no. And the reason why I didn't say the truth from the start is because I was afraid I was gonna get made fun of, for to be honest.
Well,
The time is
you know what's happening after the podcast.
Time to make fun
No.
of you now.
And then it was even worse too because like what they said he couldn't return it, right? Or he had like a certain amount of time to return it.
They gave
Maybe
him
4 days.
Yeah, they gave him a like 4-day window to return it, and they didn't even say you can get a refund. They just said return it.
They're just gonna get it back and just keep his money.
Well, no, they were gonna give him like a replacement, but it was gonna be from the same fucking Chinese seller. It wasn't even worth it, really.
Yeah.
He literally got like gypped out of $200.
For a
those-
1400 too. Not for a 1400, a 1700.
It was
so those,
1700?
like,
Yeah, it was a 1700.
those 2 to 3 months where we were having all those troubles was fucking miserable. It was a miserable time.
It was terrible for me because I was coming up with like 30 theories for each computer. Like fuck it, like what could be wrong, you know? And there was only so many ways to test them.
Well, it's all good now, so
Thankfully.
but man, I did not imagine you just tossed the goddamn CP.
Shit went flying,
This
dude.
is stupid.
I'm pretty sure you did send a picture of how it looked, right?
Yeah.
So I assumed it just looked like that out the box, but obviously not.
No, it was fine out the box. It didn't work still, but it just went flying when I was trying to fucking get that shit off.
Man, I did not think that was the case. Holy shit!
Man, that picture of the fucking Ryzen 5 box door literally looked like somebody stomped on it before putting it on his like
I'm gonna-
doorstep.
I'm gonna edit that picture on screen. I'm gonna put that up when we're talking about this.
Yeah, man, we were dying when we saw that though.
That thing came beat the fuck up.
Jeez.
Not only that, but the thermal paste was also like green and shit, right?
Yeah, the thermal paste clearly it showed signs of being in the warehouse for like 3 years, 3 or 4 years.
Which CPU was it?
It was a Ryzen 5 1700 or Ryzen 7 1700, I think. Yeah.
Well, no wonder it was sitting in the warehouse. I mean, I thought there's a very huge demand for 1700s.
That's funny as though they gave him one that was made like on the day of release. It just didn't get sold.
They got the order for it and like, what the fuck?
Who the fuck's buying this?
And they just looked around in the back and there was like this one left. I go, yeah, fuck it, send it to him.
Yeah, and then they sent it down the conveyor belt, you know, with the gorillas. And they're just like,
They said, fuck it, this.
Man, that's funny as though. Like, I don't know. Because speaking of like these Chinese sweatshop fucking CPU, Seth, Oh no, but not said. But there's like this running joke of these computer parts coming in, and most computer parts have like nails and stuff, like cases and motherboards that are pre-built come in with all the screws and stuff already on them. And we have this running joke where it's like
the Taiwanese.
some of these screws will not come off no matter how hard you twist. And we have this joke where it's like, man, these Taiwanese kids at these sweatshops really put it on their range.
No, wait.
Oh no, you go first.
I was gonna say it reminds me because when we were building Alex's computer the other day, the case on the bottom said "Made in Taiwan." I was like, I fucking told you, I told you.
Dude, because that nail did not want to come out, man. Some of these screws, man, they put all their rage into it.
Rage for America. It's on those screws.
Like I'm just imagining like a 7-year-old like Taiwanese kid with like huge fucking arms, just
Some buff ass Taiwanese kid.
The average 9-year-old Taiwanese kid, big ass muscles.
So, Robinson, what were you gonna say?
It reminded me of when we were putting the new CPU for mine. Because before I was using like the shitty HP, right?
Yeah.
And when we were opening up this computer and getting ready to put the CPU in, we realized that we didn't have the screws to put. What was the cooler?
No, it was for the motherboard because the screws. I'd ordered some screws online from Amazon because we lost them somehow. I think I sent them back with the motherboard I returned. So I ordered new ones and they didn't work for whatever reason. They just didn't screw in the motherboard. So
we were like, I was like, fuck, man. Now I gotta wait and order some new goddamn screws and hope these work. So then we get to thinking for a bit, and then we decide to take a look at my old computer, see if it's got any screws that are salvageable. So we we opened it up, and like the screws, the best way I can explain it, the circle top had like a square inside of it, right? So it was like these ancient ass screws. We were like, no way this could fucking work. But we were desperate anyway, so we unscrewed them, took all of them out. That computer was pretty much trashed. It was falling apart. We put those screws. So like you have these ancient ass screws now in this brand new motherboard, and it worked perfectly fine.
I still don't fucking understand that. How can screws from like you like it literally the case was like an HP like school computer that you see in like a fucking school or an office, right? Fucking it was like some old ass HP Pavilion, and they worked perfectly. I don't understand.
Man, it was a great resolution though, so I was happy with that. It gave that old ass piece of shit some sort of use, but now I think I'm gonna just take it to the backyard and just stomp the fuck out of it with the size 14s.
Size 14s.
Kate has had some computer issues somewhat recently that are like fucking weird and unexplainable.
What about your blue screens?
Yeah, sometimes my computer does this thing where I'll turn it on, but I had to like turn it on a certain way or else it just won't boast. A CPU debug light will turn on, so I have to hold down my power button for 2 seconds. And if I just like press it and then let go, it doesn't work.
Oh yeah, you're playing like fucking roulette to see whether it blue.
Yeah, it's really just a gamble in the morning if it turns on or not.
You gotta hold the button and then release.
Yeah, there's like a certain way I have to turn it on, or my computer just will not post.
It's
weird.
I'm gonna go on a whim, and now I think about it, it sounds like a power supply issue.
Honestly, I mean, I'm still using my pre-built power supply, so it could be probably.
It probably is actually. No, I think like
honestly, he needs to throw the whole thing away.
How long have you had that pre-built CPU?
Since,
probably since like 2018.
Yeah, like 2017 or 18.
I've also had mine. I'm still using the pre-built that I had, and it's fine.
I mean, but I also got new equipment or new hardware. I just say equipment.
Yeah, you have a better CPU and a better motherboard now. It could actually be a power supply thing. I didn't even really think about that.
I mean, my power supply is 650 watts, so it should be fine, I would think. But I don't know.
The only thing
yours is 750.
No, mine's 650.
Oh, because I'm about to say because mine's 750, and this shit's new.
It's not even that.
I assume your shit would work.
It's mainly because pre-built power supplies tend to be like super cheap and like cheaply made, and
Yeah.
With power supplies, you almost never want to cheap out on them because they're arguably the most important thing
They give it power.
Yeah. Well, because like if
They
it
got one with enough watts to barely reach 650. It's like if you gave in one thing that gives it one more watt of power that you got to use, it just stops working.
I have a thermal take one, a 650 watt thermal take power supply.
What?
No, at first I thought he said when he said thermal, I immediately thought of like water cooling, like liquid cooling. I was like, what the fuck?
He's got a water powered power supply.
Those look, I don't know about that. Like it looks neat and all, and it probably more efficiently cools it, but
no, air cooling is a lot better. Fan cooling.
Is it?
Yeah, air cooling has been
barely makes a difference.
Air cooling and water cooling are like almost the same in terms of cooling. The only reason why people like water cooling is
because it looks cool.
It looks cool and it's quiet.
No, but wouldn't water cooling make it so you'd never get dust in the computer because you could just seal it off completely?
I mean, maybe. But if you have a good case with good airflow and like dust filters, then you don't need to worry about that.
Yeah, I want to buy a new case and then rebuild
you have
everything.
to like refill it too.
Dude, I don't know about you, but I would never fucking do water cooling. I don't care how cool it looks. I swear to God, if I'm like playing like Final Fantasy and that shit starts like fucking bubbling and shit,
bursts.
Yeah, if that shit starts bubbling, bro, I'm turning off my computer.
Yeah,
you gotta have a plumbing tray to do water cooling.
It is not worth the risk whatsoever.
Like it might look cool, you know, with like a backlit fucking tank and shit, you know, but it ain't worth it.
It's like your fucking computer starts. You gotta like get underneath it, or like get a wrench and get some pipes.
Yeah, it ain't worth it. I'm completely fine with air cooling.
Yeah, I like air cooling more. Anyway.
I do need to get some more case fans though, because I did notice, like I said it before, where I felt like the top of my where I felt the top of it when I was streaming, and it did feel a little bit warmer than usual. So I should probably get at least 2 more fans.
I would get new case fans, but for some reason my back case fan is like screwed in with like I swear they got their toughest Taiwanese kid to go screw in.
Dude, like, didn't we have to fucking break it?
Yeah, we literally had to break the case fan.
We had to break the case fan to get it off. Yeah, we had to break the corner of the case fan because the screw literally would not come off. So if you look inside Cade's computer in the back, not only is the case kind of shredded there, but it's missing a screw, and the corner of the case fan is like bent in half.
No, so remember when we tried shredding off a quarter of my CPU cooler?
No,
by shredding off, you just tried cutting it?
No, because his CPU cooler was fucking weird as hell and like wouldn't screw in unless you took the motherboard out. Yeah, it was like super shitty, right? So we had to take out before we took out his motherboard to like actually unscrew it. I grabbed a knife and I just tried cutting through the corner.
Whoa, what the fuck?
Yeah, we were doing some jank shit.
Dude, I didn't want to take out the motherboard. That's like rebuilding the entire PC. Just for
but we ended up having to anyway.
Yeah, we had to fucking take it out anyways because the knife wasn't strong enough. The plastic is fucking constructed with like the Chinese rage.
Yeah, everything that's in there, you do the fucking rage spell with.
Man, I remember fucking when you guys were finished and I asked if it was done. This fucker comes in general saying, "Oh man, we're having some trouble. The computer isn't posting." I'm like, "Oh shit, what's the problem?" You know, because I was like concerned or whatever, and I was off my ass by then. So I asked him what's wrong, and he says saying, "Oh, it's saying something about a DN RAM protocol." And you know, even when I was like off my ass, I was like, "This fucking bastard really tried DN RAM protocol."
Yeah, I remember that.
I was the one that told him
2 days ago. Yeah, because we were done building my computer, and you're like the only person on, and we wanted to fuck with you a little. So, you know, we're brainstorming like, what should we say to this guy? Because we wanted to get you with something like, you know. So we came up with, how about we tell them that the computer won't turn on or post because it's got the DN RAM protocol. And DN, you know, if he fell for it, was like, what's DN RAM protocol? D's nuts.
It's so bad.
Or how Cade got Alex earlier.
The fucking one image.
The SS.
Yeah.
It's like, Alex, did you get SS of Final Fantasy 14 yet? You just put the question mark. It was like, suck this dick.
That was so stupid. Like that made no sense because I thought SS was like an acronym for something because I was
Like a
thinking
skill or something.
there's no way he could actually say something. There's no way there's a word that starts with 2-letter S's at the start, right? So I thought he was asking me for something for. I was like, oh, so what's the SS? To suck this dick.
Man,
So you got to put that image too, like the screenshot of the Discord messages where he was asking me it, where he got me with the suck this dick.
we've just been like menaces in general lately, like just trying to get each other. But
Yeah, I don't know why, but the fucking like those jokes, like fucking Sagandis and DN and
Both of these.
Bofa, yeah, I don't know why, but
Oh, and
Nah,
there's been a
Ufana.
revival of those type of
Yeah,
memes.
Ufana.
Ufana.
Or like you were trying to get them on Rainbow. You remember, like, oh, they're planning on Ufana. Like you
Oh,
say,
yeah.
like really, you say,
They're on
like,
Goblin.
really,
They're on Goblin.
like you try and sound like really serious and convincing, but it just comes out.
Oh yeah, it's like there's a guy on Ufana.
Nah, I love the fucking the trophy joke I hit him when people start talking shit.
Trophy joke is fucking stupid. The trophy joke. It was a where'd you get that trophy from? What trophy? This is dick sucking. So I'm like, bro.
It's so lame.
It's so
That's so
lame, but nobody
stupid.
expects it.
You got me with that. Fuck you.
That dick sucking trophy. No, Seth, you know what's funny as fuck? When I don't know, you were talking about something, right? I didn't really care. And I said who? And then you said no, there's one guy, and I said asked.
That's bullying, dude.
That's mean. I built your
It was
PC,
funny as
motherfucker.
hell.
Oh yeah, wait, didn't we say yesterday he's gonna go over there, deconstruct it, and leave?
Yeah, I'm gonna go over there. I'm gonna go over there and take apart the PC and just leave. You have to build it yourself.
Man, that's funny as hell.
Well, I think that's a pretty good stopping point for today. As always, links will be down in the description for everybody's, channels or Twitch, and if you lasted this long, please check them out, and we'll see you guys next week again.
And leave a like and subscribe and leave a comment.
Please.
That too.
Why'd you say it like that? Leave comments.
Please.
I'm desperate. Please leave comments. We need people to talk to.